Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicago Land Starks, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 439, season 18. Today's date is May 31st, 2025, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to talk about a long-forgotten TV program that aired on WLS-TV Channel 7 in Chicago, It was called The Prize Movie with Ione. Or is it Ione? Yeah, Ione. I used to know a girl named Iona. And that aired 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. And I'll talk about its history and the person who hosted the show. And also, I will talk about my job when I worked at Burger King in the early 1980s, because I posted a photo of a menu from the late 1970s, and I figured, why don't I talk about my work experience working there? And I was going to school at that time, so I'll explain what I did, how I got the job, and why I left. Okay. Before I get started, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Wiener Wrap from Pillsbury. Oh, I can hear the jokes now. Oh, my God. But this product was on the market for quite a while. So here's a commercial from 1976 and also features the Doughboy. He's so cute. So sit back and relax. Let's go back to the 1970s. And when I return, we'll come back to the present. Thank you.
What do you do with hot dogs besides boiling them or broiling them?
Ever try rolling them?
What?
With Wiener Wrap from Pillsbury. See? It's fresh dough you roll around the hot dog.
It's easy.
Sure. Just pop them in the oven. While the Wiener Wrap bakes, the hot dogs cook up plump and juicy.
Honey, you're terrific. You even make hot dogs taste great.
Well, I had a little help.
Wiener Wrap turns plain hot dogs into something special.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Wiener Wrap from Pillsbury, and it featured the Pillsbury Doughboy. In this commercial, he's not ticklish, so but I love him. He's adorable. My brother loves this character so much. We have a Doughboy doll in our house, and the commercials are all on YouTube if you care to watch. Anyway, the Wiener Wrap, I think it came out maybe 75, 76. I remember my mother buying this at our old house. I asked her, can you buy this? We want to try it. She says, yeah, okay. Yeah. So we did that, and we got some hot dogs, Oscar Mayer, and let's wrap them up, cook them in the oven. They came out great. Yeah. It's like, they look like large pigs in a blanket. So, but they came in 4 flavors. The 4 flavors are cheese, onion, Mexican, and plain. Yeah, so you have 4 choices. I'm not crazy about cheese, onion. No, I want plain. That's how I am. I don't know. I don't like I want hot dogs like hot dogs. I talked about this last week. My favorite hot dogs for the 1970s, like that. And I don't know how long the product lasted. Maybe a couple of years down the road. Maybe not. I don't know. But there's nothing good about a hot dog on a bun. I like poppy seed, and you put whatever toppings you like. Don't listen to anybody. You choose what you want. Don't let anyone dictate you. Got that? Oh, that's great. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the TV program that aired on WLS-TV Channel 7 in Chicago. I always say Channel 9. It's not Channel 9, Channel 7. And it's the prize movie with Ione. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And I also talk about my work experience working at Burger King in the 1980s, the early 1980s. Before I get started, I have a couple updates. One, it's my health. I went to see my urologist Thursday. He did a cystoscopy. I can't pronounce it. And he wants to see if my bladder is okay. And I had an operation done. It was first of its kind, to have the scar tissue stretch. I went in there. He examined me. It looks great. It's awesome. It's working. The reason is for this procedure that I did. When I did this procedure, I went like 3 times to have the scar tissue stretch. And, I have a feeling my other urologist was tired of doing that. So, and they found a way. So the other urologist, he's a very nice young man. He told me, we're going to try something new. And you know what? It worked. But I asked him, how long is this going to last? He said, maybe a couple of years, maybe 3. We don't know. But he checked it out and he says, it's wonderful. You're doing fine. And that's good news. My blood pressure's okay. I've lost maybe 1 pound. When I go to chemo on June 9th, we'll see what the doctor says about that. I feel fine. I'm not in pain, really. I hope this chemo works. I hope it does. I'm hoping. Okay, and I will keep you posted if anything new comes up. So next week, there's no doctor's appointments, nothing. I got to wait till next Monday on the 9th for that. Okay. Also, the next appointment for the urologist is June 26th. He just wants to talk to me or see how I'm doing. I still have a leakage problem. Been having that ever since the operation, but it seems like it's getting a little better. A little bit. Not much, but hopefully. I asked him, how long is this going to take? And he said, quite a while. If it's continuing, we'll discuss options. Maybe get an operation or something. I hope not. So I'm praying. Hope this is bad. I want to go to the bathroom like a normal person again, like I did all my life. Okay. Another thing I want to mention before I get started, I'll make it very quick. When you, sometimes when you're on Facebook or X, you get comments, mostly about 97% is positive, and people are very nice. And the 30% are idiots, trolls, and jerks. I get that too, but I've always learned, and I get advice from a lot of people, is ignore them or delete them. I do. But sometimes there are times they get under your skin, and, I'm not that thick skin. I'll do what I want to do. If you don't like what I do, don't follow me. Don't talk to me. Just go on with your life. They just want to create drama. I gotta ignore that. So that's too bad. You don't like it, you don't like it. I do what I like. And that wasn't the case when I was a kid because I wasn't advised or I didn't think of it. And I let it get to me very much. Not anymore. So I'll do my best. And I'll do my best to entertain you, to make you happy, because that's what I like to do. Okay. And one little Well, I have another little thing I want to tell you. I might have a little surprise that later on. It has to do with me and my health, so I'll explain if I get any update. Just keep in mind. Okay, now let's get started. We're going to talk about the prize movie with Ione. Ione Ralnick, that is her name. She was a hostess of the morning movie. It was called The Prize Movie. I'll explain that in a second. This started about, some people say 1968, but it could be right. But I think it started like January 1969. I could be wrong, but I don't remember it because I was, how old was I? 5 years old. I didn't see the show. I watched most of the Circus and Ray Rayner and Garfield Goose. And so I'm saying it was 1969. That's what I believe. And that aired at 8:30 in the morning. They had the morning show. I don't know what morning show they had back then on Channel 7. And so they thought of an idea. I think they did this in Detroit. They did something similar. And they found a hostess to host the movies and have a contest. And during the breaks, she would, talk to you, maybe talk about the movie. I don't know. It's possible. And then towards the end of the show, she would have interviews, like about a couple of minutes, maybe with the movie stars, or they were on the phone or in person. I don't know if they were on person. I'm not sure. So most of the movies were old movies, and I think during the break she explained, or in the beginning, like the name of the movie when it was released, or who was in the movie, like that. Now the contest, she would call. I don't know if people wrote in, or they just picked people from random, of the white pages, like that. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. And there are clips on YouTube, and there's there's one. It's a clip. There's a couple clips, and you can watch it yourself and see. So she would speak to someone, and then she would quiz them on a song, and sometimes she gives a little help, like that. And if you guess the song or like the rest of the lyrics, you win a prize. And I don't know what the prizes were. It's not a car like Price is Right. It's probably little gifts like that. And she was very pretty. So I'll give you a little background about Ione Ralnick. She was born in Chicago. And according to her biography, she would play an identified song at the beginning of the program. Then during the... So this is I'm going to start at the beginning. She would play an identified song at the beginning of the program. Then during the commercial break, she would call a random viewer at home and ask them to guess the song's title, and you win a monetary prize. She did 2 movies. She was an actress. Born in Chicago, and the 2 movies she was called Something Weird. I don't know what that was about. And the other one was Suburban Roulette. I got to look that up, what that means. So that was wife swapping. That's when it started. It was the swinging 60s, so, and the swinging 70s, like that. I never seen the movie. I like to be kind of interested, going back in time, see how it is. I don't know if it's bad or not. But that's all she did. And she was born September 10th, 1938. The program lasted until 1975. Okay. And then I don't know what she did after that. All I know is that I believe she moved to L.A. And she became just a moment. I'll bring her up. I'll tell you in a second. Yeah, she became a painter. An abstract artist. Yeah, she's doing. As far as I know, she's still alive, and also did voiceover. She did voiceover work like that. I hope she's doing okay. But now her name is Ione Citron. So I guess she's married. Probably got married. I don't know if she has children. So a lot of people do remember this, a lot older than me. And they used to watch the movies when you're on your day off or you're on summer vacation, or housewives watch this in the morning. They're in the mood to watch an old movie, and she was a very pretty lady. She really was. And when I was a kid, I sort of remember this in a way. In the early 70s, I used to see her, and I don't know what she was doing or who she was. So that was a great concept. They don't do that anymore. You don't have a host. Well, the only person that does that now is Sven Gulli. He hosts the show. He has some jokes. Tells jokes and talks about, gives us movie trivia. I still watch him. He's still hilarious. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, I've never met him in person yet, but I would like to someday, if he's listening. Okay, right now we're going to talk about my work experience at Burger King. Before I do, I'm going to play a commercial. This is one of the most famous commercials in the 70s for Burger King. If you know the song, I'll give you a couple of lyrics. Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. You can guess the rest. Okay, so here's before I get started to talk about my work experience at Burger King, here's a commercial from 1974 for Burger King, and have it your way. And I'll be right back with the rest of the show, folks. Thank you.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Have it your way. Have it your way. Have it your way at Burger King.
May I help you, sir?
2 Whoppers, 2 Whopper Juniors, and 4 Coca-Cola. And would I have to wait long if you made 1 Whopper with no pickle and no lettuce?
No, sir. Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way.
Oh, well, in that case, could I have the other Whopper with extra ketchup?
Sure.
We can serve your rolled beef Whopper fresh with everything on topper. Any way you think is proper, have it your way.
Now that's the way to do things. Our way.
Have it your way. Have it your way at Burger King. Burger King.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Burger King from 1974 with that famous jingle. When that came out, a lot of people made fun of it or they parodied it. And I remember in school, the kids used to sing this on the school bus and also in the school. I remember one episode of Welcome Back, Kotter that Gabe Kaplan was singing the song with Vinnie Barbarino. No, was it with Vinnie Barbarino and the Sweat Hogs? That's good. Okay, right now I'm going to talk about my work experience working at Burger King in the early 1980s. When I was in high school, I tried to find every job I could think of. I applied a lot of places when I lived in the Ashburn neighborhood, and Fort City Mall was nearby. I've applied everywhere. I applied at Fort City Cinema, Weebles, J.C. Penney's, Woolworths, Montgomery Ward, any store, even a dress store. Someone gave me a hint, and maybe they need someone to stock stuff. I didn't get it. Shoe stores like Baker's, didn't get it. Or Harvest House, the restaurant, you name it, Incidentally, I will talk about the 50th anniversary of the grand opening of Fort City in August. That should be fun. So I did find a job, and I worked out as a busboy. I talked about this in another podcast episode at Mr. Steer, and that was located on West 63rd Street near Kedzie. I worked there for about a few months. I got fired because I was 16 years old, and I acted like a 16-year-old kid. I was obnoxious, lazy, just like most kids, and didn't accept full responsibility. And the owner was fed up. It was very embarrassing, but it taught me a lesson. It really did, a very valuable lesson. And I'm glad he did that. I'm really glad. He did the right thing. Anyway, when I finished Bogan High School in 1981, I enrolled in Daly College. Now, I didn't want to go there. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was not a great student. That's a long story. I don't want to go into it. Because at Daly College, they accept anybody. So I applied there, and my friend, I had my friend and other people I knew. I didn't do very well. I tried. So one day, my father came home and told me, I got you an interview. And I said, yeah, where? At Burger King. I said, oh, okay. I was thinking of the Burger King at Fort City. He goes, no, it's not that one. I go, where is it? Archer and Spalding. It's in the Brighton Park neighborhood. I go, all the way over there? I said, oh, all right. I didn't want him to do this, but my dad, sometimes he was very caring, and he wanted me to, be responsible and have a job. And I said, all right. So I went down there. I talked to the manager. Her name was Carol. I remember her. And she talked to me. She says, would you like to start? I had explained my school schedule. I was in the mornings. So she said, that's fine. You can work in the afternoon and at night. Okay. And I did work weekends. So I got hired. And then the first job I did was working at the broiler, where you put the hamburgers in. It was very easy, and you have to keep an eye on it. And then I also work at the drinks, because the dispensers were there by the broiler. So you have to, and you got to remember, it's you had the microphone, so you had to listen. You don't have the TV screens. We didn't have that you have now. They have it at McDonald's. Everything's digitized. No, you had to listen. You use your ears to listen to that, for the microphone. So I worked for the broiler for a while. Other duties I did, we were assigned make the Whoppers. I made the Whoppers, the Whopper Juniors, hamburgers. I also worked at the fryer. The only thing I didn't like is cleaning it. It was easy, but I was a little resistant to do that. But I was trained and I was shown, and it was fine. Then I worked, there were sandwiches like roast beef and ham and cheese, and there was like a microwave. I worked at that. That was not bad. Also did mopping, clean the tables. I did everything, I did clean the toilets. I cleaned the bathrooms. I didn't like that job, but it had to be done, and I did pretty well. The only thing I did not like to do was cashier, because when I was a kid, I wasn't a people person. I was scared of people. I was very shy, and when I was standing at the cashier, I was afraid who would come, because they would yell at me if I screw up, But it was easy, The cash registers had these buttons, and they showed the orders. Let's say you want a Whopper or Whopper Junior, and you had the microphone. Of course, they requested, they want extra ketchup, no ketchup, easy on the mayo, cut in half off the broiler. They requested that sometimes. I don't blame them because I've eaten it. It's good. I didn't predict, because I remember a couple of customers, they were nasty, and I was afraid they would show up and they would confront me. One time they did, and I was very scared. And but he was okay. He was angry. I don't know. He comes this customer came once in a while, and he just caused trouble. And he wanted a steak. We didn't sell steaks there. And he wanted a hot dog. We didn't sell hot dogs there. I don't know. He was just an old man testing us like that. I also did the drive-thru. That was a little less stressful for me because I was at the window and they were at the the menu outside. And sometimes it was funny, but most people were pleasant, the customers, that is. And and it's funny, you can hear the entire restaurant can hear the drive-thru and people talking into the intercom. And sometimes they say hello or hi, they laugh and they swear at you. I remember one incident, this was bizarre. We were working late at night, and there was this woman. She comes in from the back door, and there's this guy chasing, and she was I don't know, he was covered in blood, and she was crying, and she was racing through up to the front doors. And I go, what the heck was that? We were going to call the police, but they ran away. So I don't know. It spilled over to us. Oh, it was scary. Oh my God. And thank goodness for that. The people I worked with were very nice. There was a couple of people that were a little weird. One was my manager's sister. She was very intimidating, and she made me so nervous. I would screw up. I really would. And I don't know. She was the opposite of her. Isn't it funny? But then there was this other guy. He was not very nice to me. Nobody liked him. And then he got together with her and had a baby, and they got married eventually. So I don't know what happened to them. Anyway, so let's see what else like that. So I enjoyed working there. I really did. But the problem was I wasn't doing very well in school. I got very distracted, and my downfall was accounting. I couldn't do well in accounting. I don't know what it is. That subject was bad. I still am bad to this day. So one day I came home and I told my parents, I'm not doing well in daily. I like to go somewhere else. And they asked me, where? I go, I don't know. So I looked around a bit. And the only school that really accepted me was DeVry Institute of Technology, because I like computers. I've loved computers since high school. I remember the data processing with the punch cards. That got me hooked. The only thing I don't like is changing all the time, but it's a fascinating subject, technology. And I found it very interesting. So I told my parents, can I go and apply and just talk to someone about it? She says, yeah, go ahead. I did. I made an appointment. I went down there. I remember I talked to this woman. She was very nice. He says, I like to enroll in doing computer programming. She says, okay. And I told her my grades aren't that great from daily college. She goes, that's okay. So she asked me, do you need a student loan? Do you need to apply? And I go, no, my father's going to pay. he's going to pay for my school, because he always did. He did that for me, my brothers. He paid for our education because he did not have an education when he was younger, because his mother did not let him go to school, which I don't understand to this day. I don't know what was going on in my grandmother's mind. And my dad regretted it. And he did not want us to be like him, which makes sense. But I almost quit, going to day. I wanted to go to work, but he talked me out of it. So anyway, I came home and I told my parents, they said, they'll accept me. And I said, okay. And my father said, yeah, I'll pay for your tuition. Okay. That's great. So I was going to start March 1983. That was the first trimester. I had to quit. So I told my boss, I'm sorry, but I have to quit my job because I'm going full-time at DeVry. And she said, fine, good. We don't want you to stay here forever. You're a good employee. And so I left in January. I don't know what day. And then I was off for about a month and a half. And then I started school. And I graduated in May 1986. And to tell you the truth, I did not do well either. I don't know. I was doing okay, but it got harder. And I had to take accounting again, which made it worse. It was required. So, but the funny thing is, all the stuff that I learned then is non-existent today. Not really. Some companies do. I will talk about that another time. I'll talk about my DeVry days in another podcast episode. Yeah. But working at Burger King was a lot of fun. At least I got a job. I was excited. I finally got work there. And there are times, once in a while, I do go to Burger King to eat. Not often. It doesn't bother me. And I look how things are done today. It was a lot different. But, everything's arranged differently like that. Okay. So that's my work experience at Burger King. All right. So that's all for this show. I will do a recap of what I talk about. I talk about the prize movie with Ione. That was a TV program that aired on WLS-TV Channel 7 in Chicago. It aired at 8:30 in the morning. And also talk about my work experience at Burger King in the early 1980s. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are found: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Breaker, Overcast, Good Pods, Podbean. I think there's podcasts, whatever podcast app you have on your phone or your tablet. Tap on those and tap follow, and you'll receive a notification or for the latest episode. You can listen to previous episodes if you like. Excuse me. Also be published on my blog, www.vanishchicagoan.blog. It's all listed there. If you put in your email, you can subscribe. You can get the latest episode. Also be on my YouTube channel. And again, people ask me, where I find your podcast? You can find it on YouTube. Type in the search, Van Chicagoan Stories. Incidentally, I told my nurse about that Thursday. She didn't know about it. So go to YouTube, type in Van Chicagoan Stories, or my name, Pete Costanis. Click subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. You can listen to the latest episode. You will receive a notification. You can also listen to the other podcast episodes. They're all there. Also, it'll be shared on my social media accounts: Facebook, X, Reddit, LinkedIn, Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Okay. That was fun. I will probably do another podcast tomorrow morning. We will see. I have to think about what I'll talk about. Okay. All right. So this is Pete Costanis, your host for Van Chicagoan Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Today is kind of a cool day. It's sunny. Be careful. I think the wildfire smoke's still out there. So, just be careful. And so here's bye-bye for me, and here's a little traveling music from our favorite Chicago legend, Ray Rayner. saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.